Why are we laughing? Let's be
Because we just
professional.
had to watch that game of League of Legends, Juve. Sometimes if you don't laugh, you cry. That's the state that I'm in at the moment.
We are at one apiece right now, and I mean, if the first series was pretty decisive from the Chiefs, and kind of we saw where that was going, this one is an emotional roller coaster for everyone involved. Where there's amazing moments, there's just awful moments. Juves, what are these teams doing to us?
Well, it actually just feels like a battle of the map split right now, and it feels like, is can the Pentanet bot side win harder than the top side losers, and vice versa? Can the order top side carry hard enough so that the bot side deficit does not matter? Because this has been 2 games in a row now where we've seen a fairly substantial bot lane gap in favor of Pentanet, and we've seen a very, very good performance from Only in both games. We've seen Harry absolutely pop off in this Aurelia with the quadruple, and Big Doss, the unsung hero on that Maokai, did his job when Galio got gifted 2 free kills in the early game. So, it was a very good game from Order in being able to compose themselves and bring back what was a kind of a horrendous start. And they really did mechanics max in a lot of team fights, and we have a series on our hand now, Jake.
Yeah, we certainly do, and I think that this is a second time that we've seen Order do their lane swap as well. The Chiefs seem to be able to play top lane champions mid, and Order seem to have a mid laner that likes to go top and a top laner that likes to go mid. So we saw tank versus tank in the mid lane. That actually seemed to suit Order a lot, and I know that we were speaking about it, Juice, but I feel like if you're going to run a free scaling lane, you don't want to run it against Maokai, and I think that was the purpose of the Kayn, to be able to shut that down. And you know what? When you play it against Galio, there's just not that much Galio can do. Like, at a certain point, you need raw numbers to kill Maokai, and you don't have that. In saying that, can I just say that Mark Lewis, Mr. Pradeth, is having an insane performance. I remember when he swapped to AD carry, he said he felt like he could be the best AD carry. And Pentanet is just a bunch of misfits, right? They've just swapped all their positions across Summoner's Rift. But he said, you know what, I feel like I can actually be the best in this role. And he's having a real series. Like, he did not deserve to lose that game. And it's very rare that you say that about a player, but he went up 40 CS again. He took a complete turret by himself with Rogue obviously helping out there. And he's created so much pressure that Order had to use both their first teleports to get bottom lane. Like, that's insane. Like, there is only so much a one man can do to be able to win a game of League of Legends. And I feel like Pradeth has done, like, short of, like, hitting an exit to death, he's done everything he can possibly do to win that game of League of Legends.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't compliment the Pradeth without the Batman without the Robin, right? It has to be a 2-man thing. Like, Rogue as well is playing exceptional, and he's actually doing it on something that we're not used to see him performing on, right? We don't pair Karma and Rogue kind of in the same sentence all too often. Usually it's the Thresh, the Nautilus, the Leona, but yeah, the Pentanet have really found their groove in the bot lane, but Order come up trumps this one.
Chiefs versus Direwolves, I saw as one of those games, one of those matchups where it's like, if one of these teams get on a roll, they're just going to do it. The same can apply here, but I feel like the story of Order and PGG is that these teams don't get on a roll. They like roll a little bit, and then something terrible happens, and then they pick themselves up and keep rolling. Like, nothing's easy with these teams. It's just clawing your way up the ladder. So this is, unfortunately, one of them needs to win. But the way that they're going to do it just feels like they're going to take everything they can from each other.
I'm going to get flamed for this, and everyone's going to call me biased. But, as Juve said earlier today, sometimes when you're analysing a game, you just have to call it like you see it. If Order don't fall down 4,000 gold in the bottom lane, if they don't have a bottom lane that collectively loses their turret at 10 minutes and goes 0-4 at 10 minutes, then Order has looked much more stable throughout the mid and late game stages of this series. But if they continue to lose bottom lane, you will not win this series. This series is unwinnable with an AD carry that is an item down in every single game. Like, you just cannot win. It is the most important role in the game to be even in League of Legends.
Yeah, and I mean, you could probably make the analysis that whilst it's 1-1, the series has really been a battle of 3 players from Order potentially playing better for the most part, potentially, and 2 players from Pentanet really outperforming, if you will, right? The 3 players that are kind of playing well on Order, they're not outperforming their counterpart to the point of where it's unwinnable by any means, but whereas the Pentanet bot lane is really just performing to another level, and like Jake said, you can't get away with having that game again. I think if you give Pentanet that same lead in the bot lane again for a third game in a row, potentially it's just shut up shop, and then I think really there's no way back, because like we talk about Rare 7 being an emotional player, Ayla, not so emotional. I think Ayla's more of the calm one of the two, more of sometimes the rational one, if you will. Kind of had some clutch Bard ultimates in that game, but it's really hard to pull a teammate out from what is a bit of a rut, if you will, in a series like this.
But you're going to have to do it if you want to take it out, so we cannot wait to continue with this. What we can wait on, we can't do any more LCK right now. It's like, I feel overwhelmed by just the burden that we carry with this. So let's jump into a little one right answer.
Couldn't put me in the
Just to mention, yeah.
couldn't put me in the graphic, could we?
No.
Do you reckon? For the grand final, we'll actually get that dude cutting the right wire.
Like you come in at the last minute and save the day.
I've diffused quite a few bombs in my time.
I believe that. See, my headcanon is you planted the bomb. That feels more on brand for you.
Would you like to elaborate as to why, or do you not want to go on to
Because you come in here and you try to shake things up straight away. I mean, I didn't want to say it in front of Spawn, but you were talking about how you... I see what you were doing there, and that's just mean, man. You came in here, I didn't want to do this in front of Spawn, but, you were trying to get him fired when he was casting...
Hey, I heard. And Nick, can I just say that you weren't exactly singing my praises from backstage. So
I was scared of him. I was just playing along.
I think we need to have a chat off camera, gentlemen, because there is a if I go, everyone goes with me manifesto sitting in this bookcase right now.
That sounds like you're the ones making the bombs.
All right, this conversation ends. Let's go on to something much happier with our first one right answer. Would you prefer to know how you're going to die or know when you're going to die? You have to pick one.
I think how. If I know how I'm gonna die and I don't know when, I just live life on a rampage, dude. You name it and I've done it. It's in my bucket list.
I feel like if you get a when,
opposite.
you can live up to that point really successfully. But if
true,
it's a how, imagine if it's something like obtuse. You're gonna die of a heart attack.
No, but
That's
okay,
just
any time.
But your when,
any moment. Could happen.
But what about your when? If your when is literally tomorrow, you're just gonna sit there miserable.
No, I'm not. I'm going to take out life insurance because I don't have it right now, and Jasper isn't even in school yet, and Jenna has another kid, so I'm taking out a big life insurance policy, my friend.
The only problem with the when is that I feel like it's just this ticking clock that could potentially suck all of the fun out of your life because you're barreling towards it. Like every day that goes down, it's just like, oh, it's there. I know it's coming. And technically, we all have that anyway. We all know it's going to happen at some point, but we choose to forget it. If you give me a date, I don't know. I just feel like it's there the whole time.
I'm not of that belief. With the way that gene sequencing and all that stuff's coming out nowadays, I don't know if I'm going to die yet. So I'd like to hold on to the fact that I may not die.
I love this optimism. Rusty is in the chat right now, and he said, if I know how, and it's a car crash, catch me avoiding cars. But so that's the thing about fate, Rusty. It doesn't work like that. Like, the car crash would actually be that you never drive a car again for the rest of your life. And what you're doing, you're walking through a field, and some freak accident happens half a kilometer away, and a car explodes, and then a piece of metal comes out of that and impales you straight through the face, right into the field. And that's where it's like the car crash was the cause, but you weren't actually involved.
You were the effect.
Yeah.
This has been a wild ride. Can we get another, a happier question? Because now I'm just thinking about how I'm going to die.
Yeah, that's fair. Would you rather be 4'5" or 7'7"?
Or because I'm already 7'7" or around 7 foot, I think I'd like to try for the 4 foot option.
Yeah. What do you feel like you can't achieve being 7'7" that you could achieve being 4'5"?
There's probably nothing.
I'm going to be real. I feel like if you're 7'7", you sit at a standing desk nearly. Like, I feel like gaming as a 7'7" person is like incredibly like inaccurate. And like, you have MS delay. Like, technically, your brain is like an internet server, and your fingers are like your PC, right? And like, you have ping delay between your head and your hand.
Yeah, actually.
And if you, absolutely. It's not instantaneous. And the longer you get, the more delay there is. Now, I don't know whether 7.7 wingspan is enough to create an actual delay. I assume not, because you could get like 16 millisecond ping from Melbourne to Sydney.
Surely you just plug an Ethernet cable into your head and then you're fine.
At this point, I think that being 4'5" makes you a better gamer because of less ping delay between head and hand. So I'm going with 4'5".
Look, that's a good choice. I mean, 4'5" seems like the option for me because it's 7'7". You can't do anything at 7'7". You can't fit it. You need to get custom cars.
I could just play NBA and make millions, though.
I mean, that's true. But like, how tall do you have to be as an NBA player to be drafted if you're not any good at basketball?
7'7". I would say 7'7" is the height. Well, isn't the tallest person in the NBA 7'7"?
I was gonna say, like, how tall was like Justin Lin or something?
I thought you were going to say Justin Timberlake, and then I realized he doesn't play NBA.
Oh my god, there you go. 7'7" is the current. Oh no, not current. That was tallest of all time. Yeah, right. So there you go.
But I'm
so
pretty
7'7".
I was watching
would
the
you have to be
NBA
good?
the other day, and there was a guy that was 7'7", and there's also a 16-year-old kid from France that's currently 7'7", I think, and he shoots threes like Porzingis and has handles on it. I saw him cross a guy up. So watch out for that dude.
Well, there you go. So we're all taking 4'5", except the last second where we all decided to join the NBA. The final question: eat every meal with tomato sauce, or eat every meal with mayonnaise?
Oh.
Also,
I would say...
Mayonnaise is not good.
I would say... Did you say mayonnaise is not good?
Yeah.
Doesn't mayonnaise go with more than tomato sauce?
like, it depends. Is it, like, actually just... Are we talking, like, Heinz brand of both of these?
I reckon you could get the best quality.
Okay,
of
definitely tomato
either
sauce.
of
Oh,
those.
tomato sauce then. I just gotta get my
100%.
non-less tomato sauce and then eat pasta and eat all, like, Parmas and make whatever.
Yeah.
What if it was Heinz? We're going mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
Because then you
At
run
that
out.
point-
You run out of meat pies eventually.
That's true. That's
Heinz,
true.
we love you if you want to come on board as a sponsor, absolutely, but there's only so much of your good sauce I can eat. Whether it's your good mayonnaise, I can eat all of it.
Look at you.
But you could have a snag on the
Don't
barbie.
say
If you had a snag on the barbie and some shrimp on the barbie, you could put some tomato sauce on that too. Have a snag on the barbie every day.
We are, but to keep in mind, we are just talking about sauce-appropriate meals at the moment, and there's lots of things you eat that aren't sauce-appropriate: donuts, cereal.
Yeah, no, but I
juice.
feel like you just stop eating those things.
No, you could
Because,
just
like,
have
the
for
sauce
breakfast.
ruins it.
You go full pie.
Yeah, no, like Jubes is right. You wake up in the morning and you have like bacon legs with tomato sauce.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
at lunchtime you have like a sandwich with tomato sauce.
Yeah.
And then for dinner you have a barbecue every night.
Yeah.
And all
Interesting.
sweets are gone from your life. And unfortunately, this is just a sad existence you have to live in now, because it is better to eat no sweets and just remember the taste than to ruin sweets every single day by putting goddamn Heinz tomato sauce on all of your sweet food.
That's a very good point. All right, I don't mind that at all. Voodoo O says, "Speak for yourself, Nick. Tomato sauce on donuts is the bomb."
that
Get
dude,
out
I'm-
of my chat.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Like,
sure that
has
dude.
to be- You better be
You
trying.
keep eyes on that dude.
Yeah,
Don't let him
that's
go anywhere by
psycho.
himself.
That dude set the bomb. All right, the next bomb that's coming up is who's going to take out the next game, because I don't know if you're emotionally prepared for it. I don't think I am.
I'm not.
We're all going to have to gird our loins, Spawn, and just suck it up and take it. So let's get into game number 3. It's PGG versus Order. It's coming up with the Max Champ Select.
And here we go for game number 3. The second quarterfinal of the night is all tied up at 1-1. As we'll get to see now, Order, for the third game in a row, continue with this blue side tradition. They'll get the first pick. They'll get the ability to showcase the Nedley again. And I mean, only's had a blind on it so far. The question is, what kind of adaptations will we get coming into this one? We've seen a similar setup from Pentanet. It didn't work for them in Game 2. It worked for them exceptionally in Game 1. It's now the game for them to change things up a little bit, Rusty.
Yes, in the words of Nick Boy Richardson, we have to gird our loins and take it coming into this game. But if you're PGG, you definitely don't want to do that, right, Skibby? You definitely want to see if you can adapt. There was one thing that I was thinking in a game like this, and to give some context as well, losing this game doesn't eliminate the losing team. It puts them into the lower bracket. We're running a double elimination bracket here in the OPL playoffs. If you continue down this path now that you've lost a game, if you're PGG, then you've really cemented the fact that this is the style of play that we want to run through this entire best of 5. That's run your Lilia, counter pick for BioPanther, but kind of limit the champions that he can play unless you make an adaptation in your mid lane right now. One of the things I would love to see from them is start to threaten a little bit more physical champion damage through the mid lane itself. I don't hate that they're going to go for the Ashe Lilia again. In fact, that's expected. From here, though, if you're going Karma, I would like to threaten for a physical damage mid laner. Just, have that be an option. Because you're really limiting what BioPanther can play in top lane. They just target him with bans in the second ban phase. And he's gone to top game.
He certainly has there, Rusty. And whilst we were confused at first, and whilst it took a bit of time to ramp on up, it definitely met its mark when it needed to. And it's going to be an identical start to open up this draft, the third game in a row. We'll get to see what Rare can showcase here. It's been, well, pretty much everything under the sun as to how he wants to respond to this one. We saw the Ezreal. It fell behind. Now his response to go into this Ashe is, okay, I think Jhin is the option I'm after. Up to fight range with range. Ayla going to continue, though, the trend of the Bard. Was a big catalyst for their success in not only catching out members, but forcing summoners to have to be used very defensively all the time. So, no surprises should be there as well.
Yeah, we've seen Jhin as a pick into Caitlyn more often than not, and it's a good answer, not a counter. Just to be clear, Jhin into Ashe is a little bit different of a ball game to me. Not knowing the support that you're going to be up against, if it is the Karma again, I feel like this wins even harder. Jin's going to struggle to get the auto attacks off where the Ezreal's able to freely use those Qs to at least last hit those minions. And the last time that we saw this from the side of Order, there was one incredible Jhin game. And then there was one super hard punish Jhin game where I think he honestly went 0-6-0 at some stage in that game. It was a disaster. And PGG have already shown that they are willing to dive. Right? They are willing to punish Rare, and they are willing to win through Praedyth on this Ashe pick. So this is a risky choice to me in this draft.
You touched on it quite nicely. That was the game where Order played into the Direwolves. And that was during Super Week. So it was only a week ago. He went 1-5 into Vitals at Caitlyn. That is the conventional matchup that you highlight only moments prior. But there's not really much to deduce from this one. The first 3 picks, the bans, they're all the same. And we're going to continue to follow the same trend when it comes to denying away some of those solo pick players. It's not going to be too easy here for BioPanther to find himself that physical damage champion, nor will Hayri really be able to pick up the pieces and say, if it's not working too well for you, Rare, I can't have a pop-up performance on this Irelia.
One adaptation through the bans here, Skimmy, is the Irelia instead of the Azir, though. And that was, to me, what I was perhaps looking at was, would the Azir be picked by Hayri? One other thing that we didn't highlight, as you can see it locked in by Praedyth for BioPanther, is that is the other physical damage top laner that BioPanther had played this split. So to me, this kind of still says that we'll be looking for the Galio mid lane. But instead of just picking the Galio 4th and going Urgot 5th, they've actually said that this is what we're going to do. They've just put the foot down and said, this is our draft. We don't care about our top lane matchup so much anymore. And what we're looking at is how they pick compositionally around this. Because if I see an Urgot, I usually think LeBlanc is a very good mid lane choice. So perhaps baiting the Azir, looking for the LeBlanc, and then just trying to poke people's health bars down to get the Urgot ults off. Definitely possible.
We've seen Bio play it twice, and the pairings they've had in the mid have either been a Twisted Fate or an Azir. That Azir will no longer be an option, as Harry will take that away for himself, as the Kled will fulfill the physical damage component for the side of Order. Now the question is, what will Get Back decide to use to fill this composition out? He showcased a Nocturne in the mid lane, doesn't seem to be the case here. He has played a couple of games of the Echo as well, but that once again falls into the category of magic damage.
Fills a similar role to the LeBlanc. Cassidy actually going to be the champion of choice here. Now has often been seen, at least through the grapevine and in solo queue games, as a pick into Azir. Does make the Azir's life difficult as the game progresses. But, especially through the early game, it's going to be an easy time to be Hayri. Going to be an easy time to be this Azir. You've got only on his Nidalee once again, and he's had a fantastic series so far, putting in a ridiculous amount of work, has had a lot of control of jungle. And watching this matchup a few times over now, we have seen time and again the Lilia fall behind to the Nidalee. And that, to me, makes it very scary to be a Kassadin going into this mid lane, knowing full well that only Sin just seems to have his run of the mill.
What is worth noting is that every single time Kassadin has been played by Get Back, he just does not lose. Every single game he's played, he's always hit 10 kills or more. That's an astounding number to flex the fact that this is the more standard Pentanet style. Bring it to late game, wait for level 16, wait for those big moments. But one thing worth noting is the fact that it was always paired with the set. It was Parbu setting himself up to make those rift walks so easy to achieve. His KDA across 3 games on this Kassadin is 23. The guy is a machine, so definitely watch mid lane.
Yeah, definitely one of his most comfortable champions. And for all the OPL viewers at home, get your clocks out because we're counting to 16th hour in this game as when the Kassadin comes online. Something that we'll always be looking for is the win conditions when it comes to the scaling. And we mentioned the Urgot. We throw the Urgot into the mix. Kassadin doesn't need even to kill anybody anymore. Skibby, he just needs to deal damage. Lilia is still going to have a similar setup, I would say, to the set. In that you start to lock people down, put them to sleep, and then hope that the rest of your team does the damage to follow through with that. But in a very different way. You're not just going to be flashing into people as aggressively as a set can, knowing that you have the suplex.
Well, here we go, Rusty, for our 3rd game of the series, of the night, between Order and Pentanet.gg. Ashen Karma, for the 3rd time in a row, will be the acquisition here. As for it, he's tried Aphelios, he has tried the Ezreal, and this time around, he is going to try the Jhin. Let's see if he can get off to a flying start and not fall too far behind. If it's going to be a bit of a different tune for him. As it stands in the jungle, similar story again. Both are going to be fantastic in their clearing department, but it has been only tearing up a storm. If he can continue that level of consistency and pain, then it'll be interesting to note how Pentanet respond.
Parbu cosplaying Evelyn. You can see in the bottom right there. Oh, let's get back now. The Angry Bee man himself. Honestly surprised that his photo isn't an Angry Bee with how much he actually spams this. For those wondering as well, he had a conversation with me and said it was like a tick. He's not even aware that he does it half the time. That's how much he spams the bee. Up in this mid lane against Azir, not going to have any priority. So you're looking at how the Nidalee's going to path, looking at how the Nidalee's going to jungle clear. Also, to see how Order adapted their level 1. Are they just going to cop a beating from the Ash Karma again as they walk to Tribush? Because it did happen last game.
We're certainly dead, and it will be very interesting to note how it takes place here today. One interesting aspect to note about this mid lane, as much as we praise Getback's Kassadin, both these mid laners have the highest average amount of solo kills. Hayri has 12 solo kills across Split 2, Getback has 11, so expect them both to showcase their mechanics, get a little bit rowdy, as we've seen from them so far this series. Will, much as this composition that Pentanet drafted possesses, find shove, find priority, and find some successful poke.
And to no one's surprise, once again, PTG are going to push Order in. Ayla has once again started with his W instead of the Q because he's just acknowledged that that is all that is left for him. Is just to deal with the poke, dodge as many spells as you can like you see, but just know that every trade that you take is probably going to be negative gaming. So they are going to just try and sustain their way through. As Hayri is once again up here. Doesn't like mid anymore.
No, it doesn't. I think Swipe is feeling pretty good about himself since he had that Renekton mid lane action. He's saying, hey, look, I can flex between his roles. It's not just up to a few members in this league to do it. I'm pretty comfortable right now. We'll get to see how Hayri navigates this one. He's been a star performer so far, so we're not going to get to see that mid lane battle between the two solo kill champions themselves, but Swipe will, for another game, get that physical damage. The Urgot hasn't found a win in those 2 games. See if he can look to try and change that tune up in the mix here today as we, I suppose, really return to this bottom lane and highlight the fact that it really is going to be about sustaining. He's gone for the Doran shield, has the Jhin. Make sure that he doesn't get lethal or low enough where an Ignite all-in collapse can take place again.
Lily are about to be looked at going towards the bot side Scuttle Crab. We'll see who is able to get himself out of this one, because at the same time, Praedyth and Rogue have to show their respects. From the looks of it, only did secure that Scuttle Crab, however, as Parbu's just going to have to limp his way back to the jungle. Skimmy, end of the day, Order with the first moves, and no real surprises right now. Especially Get Back going to struggle in mid lane. He'll pop some damage here.
Could have cost a little bit more, but he's got the fantastic feet there. Not going to fall victim to some strong spear action to start this game off with. And it's going to be interesting to note if only puts a little bit more attention into the spot lane. They've been kind of left to their own for the most part.
Let's talk about this quickly. Swiper, you can see, hasn't leveled his W yet. So something that a lot of Kled players should do if they don't is you hold that until you trade. So you dash forwards. If you hit the bear trap on a rope, you should instantly level up the W to get Violent Tendencies procs off. Maximize your damage output on the initial trade. One of those 5-head things that only Kled players would know about.
And you as well. There you go.
Well, I managed to speak to a Kled player.
Today I learned as well. Informative as you always are. The trade took place as we now check in with the other lanes, both bot and top. Let's see what that trade actually means. Swiper continues to be topped up and healthy. Get that, gets dropped down to half. He has no consumables left. Fully reliant now on the Doran shield as well as the fleet footwork to sustain himself.
Also, the person that I knew that from, as a fun fact, is MMD from the LMS. Or what was the LMS at the time. Very good player. Did love his play. PDG now going to move their way over to the Drake. Uncontested, maybe. This is actually going to take a long time because it's the Mountain Drake as well, so there's actually a pretty high chance that Order do contest this one. And Praedyth and Rogue just copped 2 auto attacks from that Drake, and they really felt it.
It certainly did. Now means that the bot lane is even when it comes to health bars. That goes to Snipe, it's not going to connect. As Ray gets lower and lower with his mana. Now they might poke their head into this dragon and say that whilst Pentanet tried to start it off, Parbu is not in the area. Get Back can't look to try and jump into this one because his mana pool is very low. Swipe continues to try and be aggressive for those fights. They might want to try and get the first objective of the game.
And this is still probably one of the weirder lane swaps to me. Like, in understanding what it does, right, you've got a physical damage champion like Swiper on the Kled. His punish against the Cassin is still very good. But it's just weird to me that this was the decision, right? Putting an Azir in top lane against the Urgot is kind of exposing that Azir to potential jungle pressure. I feel like Kled would be more comfortable up there in general, and Azir still has that early push. I can see a lot of merit in perhaps this lane swap post the level 6 point where Azir starts to get pressured. But so far, so good anyway. He's been able to farm up a Storm in top lane. Hayri's already shown his proficiency with this lane. That seems like he just wants to be top lane. That's what I'm really taking away from this one.
Certainly seems to be the fact. And it is interesting, I suppose, of picking your poison, right? The lesser of two evils. Who do you want to make sure has a harder time going into this Kassadin? Actually, already demonstrated with the Kled knowledge.
Because Kled doesn't kill you.
But I mean, he can have some very strong bullying potential, I suppose, is what we've really noticed so far.
Yeah, but like Kled, if he doesn't run Ignite, doesn't necessarily solo kill you before he gets like a Phage or a Tiamat, you know? That doesn't punish Kassadin too much. You've seen Nidalee mid just kind of waltzing on through a few times. Hasn't even given a massive CS advantage in the jungle role. It seems like Parbu's been able to shore up what's been happening in there. At the end of the day, nothing really doing from it. Get Back, 7 out of 16.
I think most certainly is. Well on his way to finding those moments. I do wonder, though, if the reason to put Harry up on his top lane is to make him play a little bit more aggressively, not have to be as reliant on Streamer Shuffle for defensive purposes, as he continues to shove Biopanther underneath his own turret, and as a result, find himself some nice little CS leads. So far, so good, though, in his bottom lane. Rez definitely having a far better time. Hasn't fallen down to any early kill just yet.
True. A lot less pressure going down in that bot 2v2. There hasn't been any solo kills. Seems like Rare has just been kind of cycling through his repertoire of champions until he finds a matchup that just seems to be working better for them, but they got there pretty early into this best of series. Even up in CS.
Yeah, he's going to be happy with that one. He's picked himself up the Swifties to compensate what is usually a Berserker Greaves rush here by the Ashe as well, but obviously it's going to find so much value going into this direct matchup. The slows that both Akama and Ashe can present. It's very difficult for an immobile AD carry like himself to try and avoid. So I like that little pickup.
cheaper option as well. So very confident with that one. Also now about to engage and go forwards into the enemy blue buff. Was the side of Order with their vision and Swiper's permanent priority in mid lane. Now that he does have that Tiamat, it's almost impossible to outpush the net. So very comfortable if you with this Nidalee, as right now is going to have a crack potentially at top lane if Biopanther's not careful.
This is looking like the first interaction here from the junglers coming from the camp clears to the ganks themselves. Nope, gonna pop his head in, see that the Empress Fire was used, but no real kill setup pressure allowed to take place there. Biopanther can be very happy with how that one worked because he didn't have a teleport, but he didn't need to use his flash. So, with only being in the area, once he didn't find the kill, he can run it back from back-to-back objectives, really, picking up the dragon and going towards the heralds. And, well, here comes the curtains call. 2 shots connect. The final shot will not, however. Kratos will have enough health left to continue to clear out this hot wave. Party's in the area as well, if need be.
Mad respect to the confidence of PGG. Instead of just having the Karma tank the 4th shot or anything of the likes for Praetor, they both just dodge the 4th. Make sure that they stay as healthy as they possibly can and stay in the lane. Also, with that Herald being taken, Skimmy, I think it's fair to say Pabu, definitely behind in his jungle items right now, has no chance of contesting in Italy with a completed Runic Echo's jungle item, especially with that challenging smite online. So does just have to concede the Rift Tower, which is another free objective given over to the Way of Order. That's 2 back-to-back. And with Infernal up in 1 minute, would not be shocked to see all of that pressure really start to build up towards the bottom side of the map right now. But note, the teleport advantage will belong to Biopanther in top lane.
And it has been interesting, right, because Parbu hasn't been as aggressive. We've seen in the last few games that Nidalee has been definitely finding big leads very early on. We're talking 20 CS advantages. And then finding kills as a result to really get big gold leads in their favor. Parbu was showcasing that he wants to get his lanes online first, but now he's trying to do his best to match that. And as I say it, you know, the item gets complete, the Runic Echoes are there. Doesn't seem like this variation of just continuing to keep your jungle and cooldown has really changed the overall outcome, because that 20 CS advantage has been found. Stands here for the mid lane, get back with that blue buff, is he's going even.
Well, it's like what we saw in the first set, right? There's only so much that you can do as Parbu in this matchup if only can 1v1 you, and if your lanes have priority. And mid lane has permanently had priority. Very hard to deal with. You know, Swiper even sacrificing CS on his Maokai in the last game to ensure that only has control. And that gives Scuttle Crabs on both sides of the rift. That starts to give you the Gromp steal, the occasional Raptor steal. And those numbers start to add up to the 20 CS difference that you're seeing between these junglers. That then becomes gold and a sizable advantage for Ono.
I think priority is a really good word that you bring up there, because look at the minimap right now. Look at all the defensively placed control wards that Pentanet had for the entrances into their jungle. There's one that it is now going to remove, but there's another one on the opposite side by the Pentanet's Raptors. So making sure they have tabs as to where the opposition is at all times, but based on that keywords, Order picking up the first 3 objectives in their favor. We're going to be playing for another Cloud Dragon. More movement, more ultimates, and more damage. So we're now going to check in with the damage charts and sort of see how things look so far. And very small gold leads found in really pretty much every lane.
Yeah, nothing substantial to speak about whatsoever. You've got 400 gold between top laners. Jungle's a place that you wanted to look at and say that's a sizable difference, but realistically, less than 200 on gold. Nothing crazy doing whatsoever. And no one should really be surprised by this one. You see the curtains open here actually as the Herald summons. Skibby Swiper could also charge nearby. That was a big one.
4 shots from 4 on that final one, taking Rogue from 100 to 50, just like that. The Herald was summoned and it'll do a fair bit of damage as well. Still another minute before those plates will fall on down, but Biopanther actually commits to the teleport, thinking that fight could have gone a little bit more.
They could probably just... Oh, hang on.
Yeah, they're going to turn things around. There's the ultimate straight away, now looking for the execution, and here it comes! He pops the heal, but he's locked in place from the claws, and Biopanther will find first blood.
A little bit disrespectful there from the side of Order. Gets punished instantly. The Ash Arrow comes out. Praetor barely misses those ones. Simple as you'd like for Biopanther to throw out his ultimate. And Fear Beyond Death comes down and is very successful here for PGG. First blood going their way. Still going to lose pressure in top lane, and that's the thing. Why even commit yourself to any kind of risk of dying down in bottom lane if you've got the top lane turret basically secured for free? But nevertheless, they will still get it. And Hayri is now going to be a beast to contend with.
Most certainly is, and Pensnet quite happy for this game to go the way it is and be sort of given opportunities like that to find some gold. As they're very much on the get-back hype train. He's continuing to go even in this matchup, got themselves the Rod of Ages. Just wants to farm, just wants XP.
Yeah.
And just wants that laning phase to be broken up, target those side lanes and just create a bit of a nuisance.
It's only a matter of time before get back becomes a serious problem for everybody on the map. And that's not really something that's new from PGG. That's not really something that's surprising from us. This is basically their standard as drafts go. And it's definitely the standard in terms of their play styles as well. They are one of the few teams that are willing to sacrifice those objectives if they deem that it is more important to scale and get 3 waves of free gold. You know, get yourself 350 odd gold for each member instead of contesting and risking losing the game off a single Drake fight. They'll do it. They'll sit back. This next Drake, however, you do start to get the pressure mounting up. You do start to feel the need, like if we don't contest these ones, we may just be throwing the game away from these Drakes by themselves. So far so good, but they are.
They certainly are. And Pentiment haven't really revealed too much of what their strategy is coming into this head-to-head matchup. They've run the same comp. Very small tweaks made here or there. Tweak that Order have made with this Jhin has been just enough to actually find a lead this time around. It's been a bit of a rough series so far here for Rare. I think we saw more than anything in Game 2 when he was playing the Ezreal, trying to overcompensate to try and find some level of confidence to say, I can make things happen, flashing forward aggressively, taking out key members. And the rest of his team were able to deliver the damage, which they most certainly did, which brought us to a situation like this. It'll be interesting to see how this series progresses. It's going to be a long night here, no doubt. Best of 5 is what we're playing for. And with the tempo really coming to a grind right now, 15 minutes in, only 1 kill. Slowed down by so much.
Yeah, you're right. We hit a stalemate. Until you say that, of course. A little bit off with the timing there from Ayla. They're not going to be able to stun Pabu, keep him down. But an instant flash, nevertheless, will keep him alive. And that snail's pace that we've started to hit, both teams will be pretty content with that as the game state, ultimately. You've got the Azir scaling, you've got the Jhin as well, who hasn't gone for the Manamune build this time, has gone straight towards the Infinity Edge side. So he's going to be scaling up with his crit build. So Order pretty content sitting back. PGG, similar thing, you know. I got hits his level 9, now has no mana cost on that W. You can spam on minion waves, a little bit easier to control those waves, but not against an Azir. And a Kassadin will obviously be a Kassadin, who has a whole lot of experience, actually, when you're looking at the rest of the map right now. He really has prioritized sacrificing Drake for wave.
He has, and I think you touched on a really interesting point there with the fact he hasn't gone for the tier build. I don't think he was allowed to really in this game. He had to find some instant power. He couldn't afford to wait till the late game and have this game be really all decided over 35-minute fights. They want instant power, and that is what they're finding so far. Here's Harry, a 3-man Emperor survives. Locked it down just like that, but as he gets locked down, so does Biopanther. He hits the suppression. They all get fit into Narnia. They have nowhere to go. Pabu's been taken out of the fight, but only doing whatever he can. He picks up a double, make it a triple, surely give it to him. No, Swiper wants in on the action. It was a snail's pace until it wasn't. And when the third dragon came on through, these teams decided to fight.
And Hayri setting up these fights at the Drake, puts in a captain's performance from himself, but at the end of the day only comes in and just knows how to put in the damage. Nidalee is an insane champion if you're actually enabled to use your entire composition's damage. We'll see this one more time. Biopanther comes into the fight early, but Hayri is here with a 3-man Emperor's Divide. The impact was huge. Biopanther instantly gets the Fear Beyond Death with his ultimate though and does lock someone down, and this is that first point where you're like, this is potentially a concern. But then only constantly, you know, hitting spears, hitting traps, gets the reset on that empowered jump, and that was it. Second person goes down. Any chances of winning that one, completely gone.
The Urgot ult fear was that strong that even Rare respected up by popping the Summoner Cleanse just to continue his damage. And continue to try and find that small little advantage in the team fight, which ultimately did pay off in their way. They are looking at a very early soul point to play for, much like the game in terms of kills was slow. They have definitely put this game on a very fast timer. For them to say, well, we're not going to allow your Cassidy to hit that major spike where we're saying, okay, we're dancing over a soul point, we're dancing to contested Baron. No, we want to make sure that we've got all these conditions to look forward to and utilize to make ourselves a big gap before that even comes on through. And I mean, you take about that in consideration, you're looking at a 5k gold lead as well.
Yeah, really just erupts out of nowhere with Herald in pocket here as well to summon to try and break this mid lane inner turret for themselves. Order really do just snowball out of nowhere. Turret should fall from this charge regardless of the health of the Herald. No turret plating for Torque and inner turret. Really, Rare just likes being a serial pest. You're going to push him back and it maybe gets a charge off on the Heralds, but either way, because you can. I ship it.
Yeah, he certainly can. He's not afraid to use it, and it did its job. Zone members away. And now Order will transition their pressure from mid to top lane. All the vision control belongs to them. Look how deep Pentanet are when it comes to playing around this one. They respect that Order could fling skill shots at them. Form a collapse.
Darrow.
Could do something a little bit crazy here. Ayla goes to the magical journey, but locked in place, stunned for so long, can't do anything from the arrow that came from the Ash from base. A teleport in there from Biopanther secures the double. It's Get Back that picks up his first kill of the game. He's level 13, level 16 soon to be there. He is well on his way to becoming the scary night monster. And whilst it was a 5k lead for Order, they bit off maybe a little bit more than they could chew.
Yeah, I mean, Biopanther was the one who picked up the kills in that last skirmish as well, so now he's having an influence on the rest of this map. What was a 30 CS difference for him in lane has become 20. Only is just going to snag himself that blue buff with a second to spare. Fantastic Ash Arrow, though, from Praedyth is what actually kicks all of that off. Gets Ayla before he can take the portal. Whether he had flash available or not, he was looking to take the greedy way out. He'll get punished for that one. 1 minute 50 seconds, though, Skimmy. The clock's still on. It was a good punish from PGG. They get shut down gold. But that doesn't give them the game just yet. They need to try and fight for this Drake.
They'll need to find a little bit more. And Rare respects how strong this next fight could be, how decisive it could be. He's already sitting on that Infinity Edge now. He's picked up 2 crit cloaks as well. He's going to give him a whole host of damage, not now fully reliant on that 4th shot to take somebody out of the fight straight away. There's only one bounty that remains. It is still Only that has it. Once again, we sing his praises because he's had a fantastic series to date. Every single game's been in Italy, and why would you change it really at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, if PGG lose this game, I think it's the Lilia that changes more than anything else. Only has already shown what he's capable of doing in this matchup, and I don't think that slows down anytime soon. A lot of it isn't just the Lilia, but Pabu's that set style gameplay, and I feel like Lilia wants gold a little bit more than that. 50 CS down. Really does start to add up as Baron. They're going to disengage. Oh, are they?
That was cheeky. Order feigning the fact that they were doing Baron by having members pushing through mid. That's going to be the orb that reveals. Then they're going to go for a flash forward in with the Jin damage as well. You're going to try and catch Arrow. 1 shot and deleted. No 4th shot needed today. The arrow from Praedyth does not find its mark. There's cleared as an insurance policy running on through the jungle to find out any flanking members. And whilst the Baron was a bait at first, it's a commitment now.
Yeah, PGG are going to have to look to fight this one. We'll see what they do. Not a lot of ultimates. We use bards going forwards.
Tempered fate there onto Biopanther for the flash forward immediately. He's got the ultimate. Fresh looks for the 1 shot, looking to try and take a swipe. They find it. It's Biopanther picks up the kill. Now Biopanther doing whatever he can. Get back level 14 as he enters the fight. They get that Cassidy. He rift walks on top of his head, but he can't take out Ayla. He survives. Order flirting with danger, playing around this Baron, welcoming their opponents, but they're able to do the job.
They will lose a lot of health committing to this one. They do it incredibly quickly, though, as long as Hayri is protected. This should just be the Baron. Road back alive as well. They want to contest this, maybe just look for exit kills.
There is no nullify, there is no chance for Pabu to put them all to sleep. Only, and the rest of Order run away with the Baron buff. 4 members buffed up, 4 members ready to fight. There is the Cloud Soul to play for. What ultimates, what summoners do we have? There's going to be a summoner advantage here for the Jin with that flash. But Pensnet are not making that cross-map play right now. 2 levels away for this Cassidy. A Baron buff and a potential soul point for Order to play for here.
Night and day, though, isn't it? When Order's bottom lane shows up to play. they look like a completely different team. It's not just a case of only putting in work by himself. It's a case of a full team performance here from them. Much more polish showing so far in this third game. Coming out of order, they'll get themselves the Drake. It's going to be the Cloud Soul picked up here as well. Not even going to bother smiting for that one. Well and truly in the driver's seat in this game. Yes, Cassidy is 14 out of 16, and Swiper's earned himself a Scuttle Crab. That's a skill shot diff right there. Things still very good. I mean, it's funny because we're looking at a 3-0-3 Lilia, and it still feels like, in comparison, she's done nothing, you know?
Yeah, it feels a little bit rough at this stage. It'll be interesting to see what adaptations will be made in game going forward, but as it stands for in this situation, Order are the ones in the driving seat. They've had a whole host of pressure on this map so far. They continue that. They've got the buffs. They've got the damage.
It's just occurred to me, and this is one thing that I'm not a big fan of from what PGG did draft-wise. I feel like they're really level reliant. Fire Panther, we already spoke about this one's level 9. Lilia really does want level 11. 2 points in that ultimate is like an extra 0.5 CC duration of potentially everybody. It's huge. Scaling up to 3 seconds sleep duration at 16. And then Cassidy wants 16. And all this experience requirement, someone's got to lose out, you know?
Will they lose out here today? That is the question. 25 minutes into this one, and whilst it hasn't been a kill-heavy game, it's been one of very disciplined macro. 5 structures to 0. Everything going the way of Order so far. They are pushing in top wave. They've got mid-wave preps as well, and bot lane's actually passively pushing to add insult to injury. They are looking to get their first inhibitor. Out goes the Curtain's Call, looking for that one shot, looking for that key target. There's the full shot. It will not connect. They won't find the ability to push on through just yet. They won't be able to expose the inhibitor just now.
Probably very threatening, throwing out all of these E's towards the opponent as he bowls down. The threat of putting someone to sleep is very much there. Rare not having his cleanse up when available does make things a little bit more difficult when it comes to sieging the turrets themselves. You want Hayri to be involved. Ooh.
Unfortunately, no, it doesn't connect. It's hurting them if it doesn't connect though. That's Praetor caught in place there by the attempt to fade tower to save as well. Instant zap, Praetor dropped down to half. A bit of trouble. The poke, it's relentless. The harassment, it continues. And the turret is crippled.
This turret's just going to drop in. No contest available from PGG. Praetor's going to be in base looking for those home guards though. They're going to sleep.
And looking to try and take him out. Only has to be the focus. He's going to flip into the team. It's Get Back that picks up the shutdown. That's huge for the context of the game. 1 level away from the fabled level 16. Give the man a double. That's what he'll find. That's a fantastic base defense. They do not lose an inhibitor. And this could be the dream situation for Pentanet. Hold out just a little bit longer. An Elder, a Baron to play for. And all the levels in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better situation for Get Back given the state of this game. Double kill going his way, shutdowns as well going into the hands of a Cassidy. All the experience that he could possibly need going to be available for him as well as he takes the Krug camp, maybe even shows himself in top lane, has the teleport, so if they would like to, he could be anywhere he wants in a side lane. I mean, this is a scary situation. You can see what a Lilia is capable of, forcing a Zhonya's out of an Italy, locking down Swiper. That's only 2 targets that get put to sleep, and that's without an Ash Arrow to follow up that engage. And they're able to come out very successfully when 6,000 gold down.
And that's the crazy fact about it, right? The fact that Ash Arrow did not connect, but they still managed to find a way. Get Back now, the most fed member on his team. That's what you want to see when you got a Cassidy there to play for. How do Order look to close things out? They must now be feeling the pressure. Have they done enough in this early game? Have they built a strong enough lead? Have they put enough map control on the table? I mean, you'd have to say yes with 6 turrets to 0.
Yeah.
But will they find the option, the ability to get an inhibitor and prevent Pentanet contesting one of these major late game buffs?
And I do want to reiterate the fact that Order still scale pretty well into this game. They aren't a Cassidy, yes, but they have an Azir and a Jhin. And you can already see how much damage this Jhin is doing. It's kind of ridiculous. 3 completed items going to be there as well. At this stage, now that Get Back is 16 out of 16, everybody, you can stop the clocks. Does he have what it takes to actually take down both of these carries when the Azir is actually designed to stand in front of the Jhin and keep him alive? I don't know if he does.
Time stands still. 16 is there. He doesn't have a stopwatch, but he's got a Seraph. And he just completed that Lich Bane. Order now setting themselves up for that top lane siege. He's on that flank, he's looking for one, he takes it out, but instantly Jin responds, rearing so much freedom. He's zoned away from the rest of his team, he has the range, and he has the ability to focus damage onto the dash. Braid him trying to go for the wombo combo, trying to go for the dream performance. They waited for late game, they invested so heavily in level 16. But Order on the night, Order on the day. They had the cohesion, they had the execution, Rusty, and they are looking to make this series 2-1, but maybe, just maybe, Papa can do something to try and turn things around. He's gone golden, and there's the ace.
He's not going to do enough. Order are going to be able to take the Nexus down here, Skimmy, put themselves at match point, and with one of the biggest crits you've ever seen come out of the back pocket of a Jin. Cassidy may have been able to take down Hayri, but he couldn't take down all of Order.
Well, there you have it. The tension comes to a collision. If you're a fan of Order, you're terrified. If you're a fan of Pensnet, you're terrified as well. Your emotions are running rampant. But as you say, that'll be Order putting this best of 5 on a match point.
And what a turnaround from them, Skimmy. The fact that bottom lane just seemed completely out of their control. Massive game coming out of Praedyth. You know, you get the sigh of relief here. Because what ended that game in favor of Order? Big team fight from Rare. Target selection, doing all the damage himself. Shows up to play in this game. He even had a CS advantage. Order really showing up as a team in that game.
They certainly are. They found a winning formula in that bot lane. And we're now going to get to see with Order on that match point how Pensnet will respond. We're going to jump to another quick break, and when we return, it's game number 4.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.